So, Anne, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
You are our next one.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about your journey into fitness. And I know it's something relatively emotional for you.
Yeah.
So we are prepared for that. Okay. And that's absolutely fine. I want us to be nice and comfortable on that. We've spoken about this many, many times. And I want you to tell us all about it.
Okay.
In as much detail as you want to. With the idea that people who watch this or listen to this may be in your position and may want to know how and where to start, and then have the feeling that if anybody can do it, if you can do it, if I can do it, they should be able to as well.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's move on forward with that. Anne, why CrossFit? Why CrossFit Silverbeard? What drew you into our doorway?
There was an article just before you guys opened in the EDP, and I saw it, and in a moment of madness, I emailed, and I just said something like, I am in my 50s, I'm overweight, I have no fitness, I'm not fit at all, I've just stopped smoking, I have perimenopausal, can you help me? Is there a place for me at your gym? And I had an email back really quickly from Alex saying, yes, there's a place for you, come, sign
absolutely.
up, do a free trial. CrossFit is great for perimenopause symptoms and all the things that you'll be going through, and come and have a look for yourself.
Yeah.
So I procrastinated and then I did, and I came, and it's been amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the lifestyle you had before you came. So you said you'd given up smoking and you gave up drinking, as far as I'm aware, as well.
Yeah, I wasn't really a big drinker anyway.
Okay.
I had been in quite a stressful job. I had suffered burnout. I had changed jobs, moved in with my mum in Durham with my daughter, and I had stopped smoking. And I was trying to take some control over whatever I could in my life. So there were some things that were going on that I had no control over, but there were some things that I could control, and I could control whether or not I smoked, and I could control whether or not I kept putting on weight, and I could control how fit and healthy I was.
Excellent. Yeah.
And so I took control of them. And it's been really empowering to have that control.
Yes, absolutely. So your first workout, I remember very well. It is probably, actually it's one of those stories that we tell as coaches when people come in and they sort of say, oh, you know, I'm not too sure. And we say, look, there's a lady in our community called Anne who came in, and we kind of tell them a little bit about your story, you know, that you gave up smoking, like, and I'm fairly, if I'm right, cold turkey, you just kind of stopped, didn't you? Yeah. I mean, that's hard for anybody. If there's any smokers listening or watching, they're going to go cold turkey.
Yeah, it was
absolutely
hard. I wasn't fun to be around for a couple of days.
So you came in for your first workout, and I remember a little bit shy and a little bit not sure to where you were going to do.
I'd spent about 10 minutes in the car park trying not to have a panic attack. So,
excellent.
Getting through the door.
And we say that
really
a lot,
hard.
right? Getting through the door. Walking through that door is the hardest thing.
That was the hardest thing that night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you came in, we both, Alex and I, remember we had a chat with you. I think, was your class the 5:30? Did you come in at the 5:30?
No, I was at 6:30 at that one.
6:30, yeah. So had you seen the end of the workout before, or was it kind of, were we tidied up by then?
I think I did.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the people before were doing.
Yeah. So, and I remember very well, you were kind of like, okay. And we were like, right then, this is what we're doing today. And I think it was a 2K row, if I'm correct.
No, that I know exactly what you're thinking of, but that came later. That was a couple of weeks in.
What I want you to do then is you tell us about your first.
So my first class was wall balls, and we had the ropes out and we were doing pull to standing on the ropes.
Yeah.
And the wall balls, I could squat maybe a few inches, and I couldn't get the ball more than a few inches above my head. I was sort of throwing wall balls like this, and hardly any depth in my squats, and I was knackered after about 5, really exhausted. Lungs were really unfit, no stamina. And I think we started on the ropes and I got a cramp in my foot. And then I spent the rest of the session on the floor with you trying to work that cramp out of my toes. And my toes weren't having it. And and that was my first session.
Yeah.
And then I think on my next session, I came back.
You did?
My next session, we were doing some barbell work and I could barely get the 7.5K bar above my head.
Yeah. But you endeavoured, right?
But I came back again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And then came the famous row.
And then came the row.
Yeah. Now, I would say we use the row as a kind of a mark and say, look, you know, there's this lady, she came into this class and it was a 2K row. And lots of people actually, I find that a lot of gyms use the rower as a warm-up piece of equipment. Now, the Concept 2 is a wonderful piece of equipment. And I know you've become quite familiar with it over almost a year. I think you've been with us.
Yep.
And now you're quite relatively decent friends, but you were enemies for a while, right?
Yeah, it was a slow burn relationship. It took a little while.
Yeah. So tell us about that row. Go on.
So it was a 2K row, and I think I got maybe 600 meters in, and suddenly I just had this voice in my head. It was the first time it had happened here. Not the last time, but certainly the first time. This voice in my head telling me that I had no business being here, that I didn't belong here among these amazing, fit people, that I was making a fool of myself, that I should just stop now and go home, that I couldn't do it. And this voice was just on repeat in my head. And I just didn't realise at first, but I started crying and proper like shoulder shaking, tears and snot crying while I was rowing. And I hadn't really realised it was happening for a little while. And I know that you were there and Alex was there and people were around me just going, come on, come on. And I remember someone saying, do you want to stop? Do you want to stop? And I was like, no, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. And I just kept going and kept going. And I afterwards, I just thought, God, I've never persevered at something like that before. It's so easy to stop and so easy to give up. And that was a new thing for me, just keeping on going till I'd finished. And, you know, I don't think anyone, the state I was in, would have thought any less of me if I had stopped.
And I think had you been doing that on your own, I think you might have started that row and then, like you said,
I would have, as soon as that voice started, I would have thought, it's not for me.
So the community part of that, the
Massive.
cheering along is a large part of, I mean, you're a real keystone in our community. And like I say, you know, we use your story all the time. Even Aaron, who's videoing this for us, I remember when he came for his first class, and you said to him, yeah, you know, this is like life changing, you know, this is, make sure you sign up, this is everything. And Aaron will be the first one to say, yeah, absolutely, Aaron was the one who said, I've got to sign up and I've got to go and do this.
No, that's great.
He had more than one reason
really
to come and do it. And he says that he stopped smoking very shortly just before he started here as well. So he went through that same sort of thing that you did, you know, that trying to cut out smoking, you know, trying to cut out drinking and kind of trying to cut out those things that, you know, potentially are over a long period of time going to shorten our lives.
Yeah.
And I think it's about longevity. We've spoken about this quite a lot in our classes and in our nutrition talks and just in our general chats that we have. Sometimes whilst we're stretching and sometimes whilst we're doing a bit of mobility and sometimes in a workout, right? Because not all workouts are fast. Some of them are nice, long and slow and lots of heavy lifting, and we get the stuff on the rack and we get working on that.
Yeah.
So you're quite the barbell queen now, though, aren't you, Anne?
Yeah, I do like the barbells. I just find lifting heavy things really empowering. I come out of here just feeling strong and feeling like it doesn't matter what the universe throws at me because I'm strong, you know?
I mean, that's a That's a rule for life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Be
Absolutely.
strong. Absolutely.
I mean, even physically, if someone attacked me or something, I could hit them probably a lot harder than I could. And it's just things like that. I feel invincible.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't feel like that when we do other things, running, those endurance things. I still have that mental thing when we do something that takes a long time. There's too much time for things to go wrong.
But I think there's something
mentally
to be said for that, because you don't avoid those.
No, I try not to, and I think I'm becoming familiar with that voice, and I'm learning to block it out.
Yeah.
I know it's irrational. I know where it comes from, probably, and I know I've got so much support here when it happens. I know that you and Alex and Ellie and other people kind of recognise when it might be happening and surround me and hold me, and I can get through it for the most part. But weights, lifting heavy things is what I really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've come a lovely distance on that. Like you were saying before, you know, with the wall balls and the barbell, you've gone from wall balls not being sort of, like you said, only a couple of inches in your squat, you know, and I know that you can now get down to parallel.
Yeah.
And you can get that ball up to the line.
Yeah.
It might be a light ball, but I know that you can do that, and I know that you're looking to progress on to the next one and the next one and get stronger and do more. And that's that wonderful kind of what we call a fitness horizon. You know, we're not on a 12-week program. We're not in a, you know, shred these pounds here and shred those pounds and look and get fit for 6 weeks for the beach and things like that. This is not how we work.
It's proper fit for life stuff.
Yeah,
and I've done it later in life, and I wish I'd done it 30 years ago, but I didn't. And here we are. I'm doing it now. But it has been transformative, properly transformative.
So do you feel like that the stuff that we've done here has helped you in any other aspects of your life?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I say, I feel physically stronger, and mentally stronger, and I feel empowered to deal with things, those curveballs that life throws at you, because I know I'm achieving things every time I come here that I never thought possible 12 months ago, 11 months ago. I never imagined I would be able to do some of the things. And that's feels good. I feel good about myself.
Yeah.
I feel less focused on what I look like. I don't even care what the scales say, you know, because it's just...
Absolutely.
That number doesn't show what I can do.
It doesn't. No, it's not relative. And we spoke to this in one of our other podcasts with Megan about body image. And I think that sometimes body image is it's really concentrated on. And actually, the way you feel about yourself shouldn't really be just how you look, how you look in the mirror. It should be how you feel on the inside, on the outside. You know, are you happy with being able to get up and down out of a chair? You know, can you get out of your car quickly? You know, could you run to catch a bus?
But
I know that all those things are now, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I know that you could. If you needed to get somewhere quick, you could.
I can,
you know?
Yeah. But I'm from that generation that grew up in the 80s with Jane Fonda and leg warmers and, you know, Mr. Motivator.
Yeah.
Telling us we had to look like models, you know, and be beach ready and what have you. And that's what goes in. And I've had that for 50 odd years. And now for 11 months, I've had, no, that really doesn't matter. Look at this person. They don't look like that, but she's probably the most powerful woman I've ever met. That's what I want to be like. Yeah. You know, I want to be powerful.
I want to be strong. You want to be, almost, because I think that that especially for ladies, strength comes independence. You know, you could do everything yourself, and I don't mean that in any way other than that. Yeah. You know, and we talk about independence, and it's not necessarily whether you rely on somebody else. But let's say you wanted to go and do something, you wouldn't have to rely on anybody else except for your own skill and power.
And I can lift things into the attic, you know, and on my own. I can pull it up the ladder and put it in the attic, or I can get things down off, you know, just heavy things. If I fall over, I can get back up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a thing as well, you know, because age is on all of us, right? And as we get older, we all want to be able to get up off the floor. And that's why we love burpees so much. Because
yeah, we love burpees.
Yeah, we love burpees. Yeah, but if we put down a burpee, if someone was to describe a burpee, it's literally lying on the floor and getting back up again, which is probably the number one thing that we really need to be able to do.
Yeah.
Apart from sit down and stand back up again, which is a squat, those two things, if we only did those two things and we were really, really good at them, we are going to outlast other people that surround us because we have that ability to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I think we can all look at parents, grandparents, and we look at them and go, wow, I you know, you almost use them as I would say you either turn into your parents or you look at your parents and go, I don't want to get like that. Right? Absolutely. I mean, I'm very lucky that my parents, even at their ages, they were quite, you know, getting on fairly. And I still look at them now and how mobile they are. I look at them and I go, yeah, that's you know, I want to be on my 90s, you know, scooting around, not necessarily having to use a stick, but the stick more to point at things than actually to use it to walk with.
Definitely. I don't want to be dependent on people at that age. I'd rather have the strength, build the strength now and the fitness, and it really repay me. Yeah.
So I'd like to just touch on your daughter, who once came in to watched you. Yeah. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, she came and she had a go, and it wasn't for her at the time, and maybe it will be later. But she went and sat upstairs and watched me, and we were doing barbell work. I think we were doing jerks or something that day. And she watched me, and on the way home, she just went, I've never seen you do anything like that before. I'm so proud of you. That was so awesome. And I just suddenly realised that, yeah, actually, it's not just about me and getting fit and healthy. I'm actually modelling really healthy behaviour for her as well. And it was really nice for her to be proud of me. But actually, I was quite proud of myself for
I think that's such a great thing, isn't it? To have, I mean, as parents, we all kind of want our children to, you know, go, yeah, they're the greatest thing ever. And children never really do they? They never really go, wow, that was really cool. But to have those moments where children are like, that was pretty awesome. That's
a little while later, after that, we were driving somewhere and I got flagged down to help someone push a car off the road. And I think they thought they'd flagged down a man. So when I got out, they were a bit surprised. I was like, no, we're good. And I helped them push this car off the road, got back in the car, and B just went, that was so awesome. I love that you could do that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's kind of getting like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Yeah. All those things that we've done. And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, so all those functional movements, all those compound movements that we do, you know, that allowed you. And I suppose if you have to look at that in a different way, had you have never started CrossFit, if you had never walked through our door, at that point where that person had flagged you down and asked for help, you'd have been, oh, I'm sorry, you know, then you were able to
push the
fulfill.
car.
That's it. Absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah.
So where would you like to be in the next year, considering how far you've come so far? Do you have any more goals? Do you set out for yourself?
I haven't really set myself goals. I just want to continue that upward trajectory, that lifting heavier things, moving faster. I'd like to be able to support my body weight on the bars. My build is such that my body weight is never going to be low. You know, I'm heavy. I just am. So it's going to take a while, but I can hold on to the rig for 10 seconds or more now, which I couldn't even do 1 second when I first came.
Yeah.
So that's massive. I've got a brick over there that says days since I'm tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's never got above 14.
Yeah, I think we'll get a picture of that at some point and put that on, because it's a good one to have, probably on our Instagram. It's quite a good fun one. Yeah, day since Anne cried.
It's at 6 today.
Yeah.
My PB is 14. I want to get it way
All
above
the PBs,
14.
I love that. It's like a personal best and emotional
Haven't
stability.
cried for 14
Absolutely.
days.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and that's the way it should be. I mean, we've sat in this podcast and I think we've had every emotion going, from sort of like belly laughs to crying to self-image, to trying to right the world when it came to sort of like how the world should view CrossFit. We've spoken about all sorts of things. I think longevity wise, and we kind of touched on this a little while ago, I like the idea of what we do here, making people's lives longer. Do you feel that that's something that's happened to you? Do you feel that you now feel that like you could continue going for longer and longer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think I'm certainly healthier. I think I've certainly increased the chances of living longer. I'm going to live better. I'm going to live happier and healthier, purely from the independence thing that we talked about, not having to rely on people, and no one wants to be a burden on anyone.
No, very true.
So even if I don't live longer, I'll live more independently and better and happier.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that. So what's your favourite thing about CrossFit? Apart from the barbell work, what's got to be something that you kind of look at and you kind of go, that's what I want to do. Now, for some people, they might know what a bar muscle up is. Now, I know that, you know where I'm going with this,
I want
right?
to do that. I want more of those.
Right, yeah. So obviously within our scales, and you know that we work with scales and we're kind of trying to break things down so we can get people learning the parts of the movement and go from there. Now, Little Bird tells me that the last time that we had bar muscle ups, you got a bar muscle up.
I got my first bar muscle up off a box.
And that's pretty amazing.
It was pretty unexpected. I was getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
And then Ellie just walked up and went, bring your hips to the bar. And I did, and I was up, and it happened.
Excellent.
And just the feeling was amazing. Lived off that for days. Couldn't believe I'd done it. So now I want to just do those all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
I think that then starts to filter down into everything else, because a bar muscle up is a relatively technical move. Mm-hmm. And if you've got that means that you can then push on through that. Now, I say that as well because you encountered a foot issue, and that kind of stopped you for a little while. Mm-hmm. You still came. We had to modify some of the workouts for you, and you endeavoured through that. How did that kind of... Were you worried about that injury, or was that kind of something that you weren't too worried about?
I wasn't worried. It was uncomfortable, and I'd just sort of damaged a tendon in my ankle. So it just made moving my ankle, putting weight through my ankle was quite difficult for a little while. And it meant I couldn't run, which I was really okay with.
No, really?
Not a problem not being able to run. But it does mean that I've had to do a lot of plate hops instead of skipping, and I've had to row instead of running, or on the bike instead of running.
Yeah.
I've got very tight calf muscles as well, which makes running really difficult. But what's the most difficult thing about it is that it would be really easy to use that as an excuse to not run. So I do have to just try and think when we do running, can I do it today? Can I not? Has it been hurting today genuinely?
Yeah.
Or can I not? And I do have to be quite honest with myself sometimes, and sometimes I end up running and sometimes I can't do it and then have to stop, but sometimes I can.
But like we say, scaling isn't always an option, right?
Yeah.
Like today's workout. You attacked today's workout. Obviously, you did the workout a little while ago. I did it literally just before we did this. And today's workout was a good one. And you came to me and said, is it all right if I scale this? If I do it this way? And you chose a really technical version so you could push yourself. You knew that the kind of like the middle movement was going to be the one where you were not necessarily as proficient as you want to be, but you knew that you could challenge yourself on that third element. And really, really pushed it. And that was great to see. And I think it's so wonderful, is it, from a coach's perspective, to see when the confidence in members, and they go, Coach, this is what I'm going to do. can I do this? I'm going to do this one because it's really hard, and I want to do the hard one because I can't do as well as I want to on that. So from a coach's perspective, I think that you've grown so much, that confidence level, because I think from like say 11 months ago, there probably would have been the thing where you'd have just kind of gone, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, no, I would have hidden at the back, done what I was told, and yeah.
Now hiding at the back doesn't work, does it, Anne?
And it's just so unnecessary because no one is watching. I don't watch anyone because I'm focused on what I'm doing, and everyone's focused on what they're doing.
And because the coaches walk up and down.
And because the coaches walk up and down and see everything.
If you're at the back, it doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't make any difference at all.
Because they're going to come and walk up and check your form whilst you're doing it anyway.
But that's one of the biggest things I've learned, is that no one is watching me.
No, very much so.
No one cares what I look like when I bend over, or when I'm red and sweaty and, trying to get my legs in places they don't want to go.
Or even visiting the gravel out the back door, right?
Yes, I've got my little corner out the back door.
Let's talk about that, because we've kind of covered it a little bit. Now, here at Silverbeard, we do have a back door which leads out to a gravel area, which a lot of the members sometimes use to go and get some fresh air, let's say, after the workout. And sometimes that fresh air causes us to
vomit.
Yeah, I was going to try and search for a word that kind of wasn't.
Not pretend.
But no. Because you're pushing right on your own relative limit. I'm not going to lie, I think actually sometimes that's a good thing. We're very rare that in any other fitness methodology where we are pushed so hard that physically we push beyond that point. And I know sometimes it has to do with maybe we've eaten some
tube of Pringles
maybe just before the workout, which might not have been the best idea, but we live and learn, right? And I think that's a great thing to touch on. Now, if I remember rightly, you've been to both of our nutrition seminars.
No, just the one.
And I know that you got a lot from that. And you kind of actually realised that there's a few things that you could just generally change. What have you changed in your nutrition? Well,
it was a lot to process, because again, coming from that generation where what you eat is about what you look like, you've got that correlation. And then we were being told that what you eat is about fueling your muscles and fueling your body. And that was hadn't really looked at diet in those terms seriously before. So the idea of switching from semi-skim milk to full cream milk was counterintuitive. How the hell am I going to lose weight if I'm drinking
all the fat? Yeah.
I'm not happy to do it because I love
absolutely, because things taste great when I got fat.
Yeah, absolutely. But it just took a little mental adjustment to be able to accept that the cheese and the full fat milk and the butter are actually, my body wants those things over the aspartame and the all those sweeteners,
all the added bits in.
Yeah, exactly.
They've taken the fat out, make it unpalatable.
Yeah,
and then they've added chemicals in.
Yeah,
and said this is better for you because it hasn't got fat in it. Whereas actually, if they'd left it in the first place, we'd be eating it.
Because fat tastes really nice.
Absolutely.
And everything in moderation. I'm not just drinking full cream milk by the pint. It's just it's an easy switch. It's an easy thing. And if that's fueling me in a better way, then that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying that I now eat clean. I'm not completely unprocessed. I'm trying to eat less processed food. I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to eat a balanced diet with vegetables and fruit, and I'm still quite carb heavy, but that's okay too.
Yeah.
And just trying to see nutrition in a different way to what I'm used to.
And how have you found trying to reduce the sugar side of things? Has that been a relatively easy thing, or is that still a battle?
It's a challenge because sugar's really nice too. But I don't eat a lot of sugar.
No.
I don't really drink. I don't smoke anymore. I'm just not prepared to give up a spoon of
I'm 100% with you. I mean, a cup of coffee without a little bit of sugar in it is it's all right, but I don't get the delight from when you've mixed it up, a little bit of brown sugar in you.
I don't feel like that's a massive
No,
sin.
absolutely not. No. And I think that's the thing, we've spoken about this here quite a lot. It's not about living a life where you're just eating broccoli and chicken. I've been there in that bodybuilding world, and they've gone, right, it's like rice and chicken and steamed broccoli, and then you kind of think, well, there's no longevity in that. And I suppose that's kind of where I was going with it, and with this kind of line of longevity wise. Have you and I've spoken to a couple of members about this, and I'm interested to see what you'd say on this. Longevity wise, we found that most people have been coming for and continued to come for longer periods than they would have normally have done for any other exercise. Now that includes walking, cycling, all those sorts of things. Do you feel that that's the same for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've never stuck to any kind of exercise like this. And I think the community is a big part of that. The support, it's such a safe place to be vulnerable and to try new things and to do hard things. It's a really safe place to do that, and every achievement is celebrated. And
we spoke about the bell in one of our other podcasts. We spoke about the bell, and I know that you've rung that bell a couple of times.
I have rung the bell a couple of times. Yeah,
it's nice to get a PB, right?
But even the fist bumps, just at the end of a workout, just someone coming up, bumping my fist and saying, "You did really well tonight. Well done. Saw you working really hard." Yeah. This is new to me. I'm not used to people saying things
and they're
like
not
that
empty gestures either.
No, they're not.
People mean that.
Yeah, I know I mean it when I say it to people. I really do. So.
And usually, let's face it, we usually got sweat pouring off of us. Your knuckles are wet and you touch it on somebody else's and you kind of go, "Great work," and you go, "Yeah, excellent."
Yeah.
Next one. Yeah, great work. I always think it's funny. As a coach, you kind of like go like that, and other hands, and you spend your time going like that.
Yeah.
And you kind of get used to it after a while. But yeah, I think that we're not kind of into that kind of whole backslapping and hugging each other and stuff like that. But that is there if it's needed. If somebody needs a hug, if somebody needs, listening to and sat down next to on the stairs whilst you have a conversation, whilst you're watching other people, you can see what's coming your way for that bit. And we talk about sort of that workout anxiety, and I know that that's a real thing, but the workout anxiety is only really short-lived, right? You kind of go, look at the board and you go, yeah, that's going to be hard. And then you go and again into the warm-up and you go, well, I've done harder things than that. Let's see how this goes. I'm learning a new skill.
Yeah.
And then I go into workout and you get to the end of the workout and go, I can't wait to do that again. But we'll probably have to wait 6 months to have anything like it again. Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, I will see you again this week for more fun and games in the box. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks, having me.